Welcome to this episode. Today we cover Journey through 1 Samuel and Psalms, timeless wisdom for today. Today, let's take a moment to explore some ancient texts that still resonate deeply with us today. We're diving into passages from 1 Samuel and Psalms, looking for insights that can guide us in love, humility, and transformation in our everyday lives. First, let's look at 1 Samuel 22, 1-2. Here we find David hiding in the cave of Adullam. He's alone at first, but soon his family and others who are struggling begin to gather around him. The scripture tells us, soon his brothers and all his other relatives joined him there. Then others began coming, men who were in trouble or in debt or who were just discontented, until David was the captain of about 400 men. This scene illustrates the power of community formed in times of need. Through the lens of Jesusness, we see how Jesus surrounded himself with those who were marginalized, offering them a sense of belonging and hope. The cave of Adullam becomes a sanctuary, not just for David, but for anyone seeking refuge. It makes us think, how can we create spaces in our lives where others feel safe to gather, heal, and belong? Next, let's turn to Psalms 57 and 142. Both of these psalms are attributed to David during his flight from Saul. In Psalm 57:1, David cries out, "Have mercy on me, O God, have mercy. I look to you for protection. I will hide beneath the shadow of your wings until the danger passes by." This plea showcases David's vulnerability and trust in God's protection. It reminds us of Jesus' teachings about seeking God's kingdom and righteousness above all else. In Psalm 142, 1-2, he continues with, "I cry out to the Lord. I plead for the Lord's mercy. I pour out my complaints before him and tell him all my troubles." This is a powerful example of raw honesty in prayer. How often do we come before God with our unfiltered selves, confident in his willingness to listen and comfort us? Jesus taught us to pray sincerely, assuring us that if we knock, the door will be opened. These psalms encourage us to lay bare our hearts, trusting in God's unwavering presence. Moving on to 1 Chronicles 12, 8-18, we meet the mighty warriors who joined David. They are described as fierce and dedicated, ready to support his cause. The text tells us they were all experts with the shield and spear, as fierce as lions, and as swift as deer on the mountains. This passage reminds us of Jesus' call to his disciples, a call to courage and purpose. Through Jesusness, we learn that true strength isn't just about physical prowess, it's about having the courage to stand for truth and justice. Just as David's warriors were committed, we are called to be steadfast in our faith and actions. What battles are we called to fight today? Not with swords, but with love and integrity. Now let's reflect on the cost of betrayal found in 1 Samuel 22, 3-23, and Psalm 52. This part of the story reveals a grim betrayal when Doeg the Edomite informs King Saul about David's whereabouts, leading to the tragic massacre of priests. Psalm 52 responds to this betrayal with a poignant question. "Why do you boast about your crimes, great warrior? Don't you realize God's justice continues forever?" This stark narrative compels us to think about the consequences of deceit and the enduring nature of divine justice. Jesus taught us to forgive, even when faced with betrayal, but he also emphasized the importance of truth and justice. Through Jesusness, we learn to balance forgiveness with accountability, seeking reconciliation without ignoring wrongdoing. This raises a crucial question: how can we practice forgiveness while still advocating for justice in our communities? Finally, in 1 Samuel 23, 1-12, we see David seeking God's guidance before engaging in battle to save the town of Keilah. The scripture states, "Once again David asked the Lord what to do, and again the Lord replied, 'Go down to Keilah, for I will help you conquer the Philistines.'" This highlights the importance of seeking divine wisdom before making decisions. Jesus often withdrew to pray, modeling a life of deep connection with the Father. In our busy lives, how often do we pause to seek God's guidance? Through the lens of Jesusness, we're reminded to prioritize prayer and reflection as we navigate our own battles and decisions. These passages, rich with historical context and spiritual insight, guide us in our journey of embracing Jesusness. They encourage us to build communities of refuge, pray with honesty, stand courageously, forgive wisely, and seek divine guidance. As we apply these lessons, may we grow in love, humility, and inner transformation, embodying the way of Jesus in our everyday lives. Thanks for listening.